The following program, Normal Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting NORML.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of Normal Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to criminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents Normal Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, Normal's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belvin.
Good afternoon, tokers and tokettes. It is Thursday, October 7th, 2010, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Thanks for joining us for the next 60 minutes of news, talk, interviews, information, music, comedy, and more by, for, and about the cannabis community. We're coming to you live and direct from Rolla J Studios in beautiful Portland, Oregon, and we are a production of the NORML Foundation. Check us out at NORML.org. Also joining us from our virtual studio, my good friend, our news reader, and our quarter sister, Cannabis Carrie.
Quarter, how does that work?
Yeah, now you've been demoted. You're just quarter sister.
Aw.
Hey, I wanted to give everyone the update on Ganja John.
I just wanted to say Okay, go ahead. I really want to hear this update.
Oh, yeah. The update on Ganja John is that there was a complication from his kidney surgery, and he had a blood clot that they had to go back. They took him back into surgery last night to remove the blood clot, and the surgery was fine, and he is resting at the hospital right now. So Mrs. Radical visited him yesterday, and he's a little emotional, but he's doing okay. Scared. This is the tough part about a transplant, these first few weeks, as to whether or not it's going to be, long-term success. So we're all wishing him our best. So sorry to interrupt you, Carrie. You were saying something before that?
Oh, I was just saying that I consider you my 3/4 brother, so there.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Cannabis Carrie brings us our hemp headlines right after the first break. So what's in the news today, Carrie?
Well, we're going to go over some more Mexican politics when it comes to the drug war. Also, I'm going to report on another big donor for Prop 19. We love that kind of news. But first up in the news, I'm going to cover a court case coming out of Massachusetts.
All right, we'll look at that right after our first break. And then following that, we'll have our Daily Toker Tunes. John Doe Radio is bringing us some music this Thursday. That should always be good stuff. This is from Cornbread is what they're called, Kornbred, Cornbread with their tune Struggle. Then at 1:30, we go to our Southern California scene with Terry Joyce, first season castmate on the Last Comic Standing show on NBC, along with Ralphie May, the comedian who was just recently busted in Guam for carrying pot on his person and petting drug-sniffing dogs while he was doing it. So Terry and I will discuss a little bit about Ralphie May and the history of those comics and just how many of them are cannabis fans. We know Rob Cantrell was one of them as well, so we know there's at least 2 on the show, maybe 3. And coming up at the end of the show, a little bit of radical ranting. New Jersey has just promulgated its rules for medical marijuana. It is the Box Canyon I've been warning you all about. We'll talk all about that at the end of the show. Then in hour 2, our live Toker Talk Radio, just for those of you joining us on Stickum. We got all sorts of news stories to cover. Stick around. It's Normal Show Live.
You're listening to Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
There is a peaceful solution called a peace revolution. And now let's take back America.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson.
Like millions of freedom-loving Americans, I'm a marijuana smoker, and I don't think that should be any of the government's business. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana. The next time you light up, take the time to let your elected officials know how you feel. It's time we legalize marijuana and stop treating marijuana smokers like criminals. For more information on how you can help legalize marijuana, please contact NORML at norml.org.
High as a kite, everybody!
This drug in front of me is what they call marijuana.
If we had a dime for every dime bag bought in America, marijuana would be legal by now. Donate to NORML at NORML.org and support NORML Show Live.
I'm going to light.
Roll a big fatty. Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
It played out in a Massachusetts courtroom this week, just another drug crime and sentencing. But due to the lawyer for the defendant's argument, it was picked up by media outlets far-reaching Worcester. Angel Molina was sentenced yesterday in U.S. District Court to 2 years in federal prison. He pleaded guilty in June to 2 counts of distribution of crack cocaine. His lawyer, Raymond O'Hara, called Molina the poster child for why decriminalizing possession of small amounts of marijuana in Massachusetts was a bad idea. Molina, 26, was rounded up with more than 20 people last December in a U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration program called Operation Northern Kings. While the U.S. Attorney's Office said there was no evidence that Molina was a gang member, he said that his involvement showed that members of the Latin Kings gang profited from drug sales where he was involved. His lawyer said that Mr. Molina's chronic use of potent marijuana has been the source of his problems. He told the courtroom that despite opposition by major elected officials and law enforcement to a referendum to decriminalize possession of less than an ounce of marijuana, voters in the state approved the measure anyway back in November of 2008. He told the judge that marijuana does not have the psychological or physical addictive qualities of heroin or cocaine, but that chronic, there's that word again, use of pot typically leads to a lack of motivation and ambition, poor performance at work or school, and general laziness, and that is what happened to poor Mr. Molina. His lawyer told Judge Dennis Saylor IV that wasn't his only problem with his client, who suffered nearly constant emotional abuse from his criminal and alcoholic father, had still with his lack of criminal record, his devotion to his child and the child's mother, and his recent marijuana-free record, that Mr. Molina was unlikely to reoffend if he continued with a marijuana-free lifestyle. Now, for the record, Molina sold 27.9 grams of crack cocaine to an informant working with FBI and DEA agents in exchange for $1,100. A month later, he sold the same informant another 27.9 grams of crack cocaine for $1,150. The second sale was videotaped inside of the car, and it's unclear whether Mr. Molina was well-versed in the law or just really, really lucky, since the sale of 28 grams of crack cocaine triggers a mandatory 5-year sentence. Poster child, indeed.
Carrie, I may have missed the detail in here. Which attorney was arguing that the marijuana use made him lazy and unsuccessful and all that?
It is Mr. Molina's attorney. So
the defense attorney.
Take that with a grain of salt, but okay. Yes.
The defense attorney is using the reefer madness of marijuana making you lazy and unproductive as the defense for this guy, right?
As a defense for him getting involved with crack cocaine. And actually he blamed it on Massachusetts decriminalizing. I mean, not even making it not criminal. It's decriminalizing still means it's criminal, but making a decriminalization in Massachusetts for less than an ounce back in November makes him the poster child for why that's such a bad idea.
I see. So decriminalizing marijuana in Massachusetts, making it a $100 ticket, is the reason why this guy got involved with crack cocaine. cocaine. I don't really follow the logic there, but it would seem to me that when marijuana is criminal and there's more likely to be a criminal penalty for it, that's more likely to lead someone on into more of the criminal drug market. The less criminal you make it, unless maybe you're arguing that the guy couldn't sell marijuana anymore because the price had bottomed out. I mean, it's a silly argument. It's sad to see the defense attorney, resorting to these reefer madness allegations. It's not like I want the guy to go to prison or anything or jail for his crack cocaine use. I don't think anybody should be locked up in a cage for what they do to themselves. But the idea that we want to get the guy off the crack charge by demonizing marijuana, that's just reprehensible to me.
And while other countries in Latin America have tried to decriminalize and sometimes outright legalize drugs, Mexico, the largest piece of the puzzle, has held on to America's drug war, even though it has cost almost 30,000 lives. The problem Mexico is facing due to the drug war is that elected officials taking a stand are tortured, killed, and left on public display. Police have been murdered and left on the steps of police stations, and journalists have been kidnapped and killed to the point that news outlets have stopped reporting about drug crimes or killings out of fear of retaliation. Over the course of the last 4 years, the current president of Mexico, Felipe Calderon, has taken a harder and harder stance against the drug cartels, spending millions of military dollars to fight the civil war being waged in his country. America, in turn, has given Mexico millions more dollars to help fight their drug war, which in reality is our drug war. The drugs that Mexico is producing are headed straight north to our borders. The former presidents of Colombia, Brazil, and former Mexican presidents Ernesto Zedillo and former Mexican President Fox have urged Latin American countries to consider legalizing marijuana as a way to undermine drug cartel profits. But Calderon has long said he is opposed to legalizing marijuana. Other countries in Latin and South America have their eyes on California to wait to see if America begins to legalize marijuana. They are waiting to structure their new drug policies in their own countries until after the election. Meanwhile, Mexican President Calderon has come out this week and declared that if California decriminalizes the possession, production, and sale of marijuana, it will present a real problem for Mexico. In an interview with a Mexican newspaper on Monday, Calderon warned that the move to legalize marijuana in California put Mexico in serious trouble and would have an unknown impact on the Mexican market. He was quoted by the paper as saying, quote, "It's really hard for the government to jail a farmer who is planting marijuana to sell to Californians," unquote. He called the inconsistency of U.S. public policy reprehensible and criticized the U.S. for failing to rein in demand for illegal drugs and clamp down on the illegal sale of weapons that head south of our border. In response to the killings and corruption of small local police departments, Mexico's president sent a bill to Mexico's Congress on Wednesday that would consolidate the country's nearly 2,000 municipal police forces with state agencies. He believes that coordinated police forces will better guarantee Mexican security and be better equipped to take on the country's drug gangs. Calderon's plan has the backing of Mexico governors and much of Congress, but is, not surprisingly, opposed by the majority of Mexico's mayors. The mayors argue that putting the country's public security in the governor's hands will further weaken the country's federal system, which has slowly recovered from the one-party rule that reigned in Mexico for most of the past century. Calderon has relied heavily on federal police, army troops, and Marines in his crackdown on Mexico's powerful and well-financed drug trafficking gangs. By doing away with local police forces, Calderon is eliminating what he sees is a weak link in his country's fight against drug cartels.
Yeah, the futile fight against the country's drug cartels, because you cannot repeal the laws of supply and demand. So long as there are willing Americans wishing to buy marijuana, there will be willing Mexicans wishing to grow and traffic marijuana. I'm reminded of the tune by George Clinton, the U.S. Customs Coast Guard Dope Dog, and there's a line in there where he says, "There's more profit in pretending we're stopping it than in selling it." And that's just so true. The effects on Mexico, if California is to pass Prop 19, I don't think are going to be as drastic as some people, even on our side, are saying they are. Here's an experiment. Take a look at the website priceofweed.com. I tweeted out a headline that came from these guys the other day talking about how the cheapest high-grade marijuana in the United States is found right here in the Pacific Northwest. You're welcome. And the cheapest low-grade marijuana that can be found is found near the Mexican border in places like Arizona, Texas, and parts of the American South. So it's obvious that the swaggy Mexican brickweed is going to the places with the most reprehensible prohibition laws, the most draconian prohibition laws. It's going to the South. It's going to these places where possession of a seed is going to get you, years in jail. In California, Washington, Oregon, out here in the West, we don't see a whole lot of that Mexican brickweed around because we have such an abundant supply of really good marijuana. The idea of putting the Mexicans out of business by legalizing in California, I'm afraid, isn't going to do much to them because they're not selling a whole lot of that Mexican weed in California. It's going to other places in the country. Nevertheless, it's important that we pass Prop 19, that we legalize marijuana and begin the domino effect of legalizing in other states so that we truly can put those Mexican murderers out of business.
And this is a short one and sweet one. Facebook's hatred of leaf shapes aside, and on the heels of yesterday's story about Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskovitz giving $70,000 to the Just Say Now campaign to help pass Prop 19 in California, today it was reported that Sean Parker, Facebook's first president and the co-founder of Napster, has now given $100,000 to the Prop 19 campaign. Parker, played by the talented Justin Timberlake in the movie The Social Network, is also a press-shy billionaire like Moskovitz. I hope this begins a bidding war to see how many young billionaire entrepreneurs can pony up with their checkbooks. Any reports of Bill Maher reaching for his wallet for the cause, Russ?
Funny you should mention that, Carrie. No, no reports as of today about comedian and Real Time with Bill Maher host on HBO, Bill Maher, longtime supporter of marijuana legalization. No reports of him kicking in to the Yes on Prop 19 campaign. They do have to report all campaign donations above the amount of $5,000. So perhaps he has contributed less than $5,000. I can't speak to that. But the reason I bring this up is because our good friend Steve Bloom at celebstoner.com has posted this story, and this time it's about Bill Maher's September 24th edition of Real Time, where he had Ann Dryan on the show. Now, Ann Dryan is the chairman of the board of the NORML Foundation, which is the arm of NORML that actually funds and bankrolls, puts on this show. So you are getting this from the NORML Foundation. Ann Dryan is the person in charge of the NORML Foundation. It's one of those situations where there's NORML Foundation. NORML Foundation's a 501c3. It's kind of a separate thing for accounting and educational purposes. Also, you may know of Ann Dryan as the head of Cosmos Productions and the wife of the late Carl Sagan, the noted astrophysicist from the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, who also did the pioneering Cosmos television show back in the 1980s. Who also was a daily pot smoker. Go Google Lester Grinspoon, Mr. X, and you can read Carl Sagan in his own words talking about how marijuana helps him with insights when he was trying to solve problems with mathematics and astrophysics, and how marijuana led him to having a more relaxed demeanor and so on. Carl Sagan, daily marijuana smoker, always use that next time someone says that smoking pot makes you stupid. Anyway, Ann Dryan was on the September 24th edition of Real Time with Bill Maher, and Bill Maher, first of all, introduced her as the head of NORML. So you can see how much his research staff clued him in. Of course, Alan St. Pierre is the head of NORML and the NORML Foundation. Ann Dryan is chairman of the board. But as they were talking about NORML and legalization, Dryan kind of mentioned that NORML runs things, quote, loose. And Maher launched into his tired refrain, according to Steve Bloom, quote, "That's why the marijuana movement hasn't really ever gone anywhere. The people in charge set their own hours. We need a Karl Rove type lobbyist to move this," end quote. And this comes on the heels of another post that I did a few months back where Bill Maher brought up the tired old stoner stereotypes, that the reason that we couldn't legalize is because the stoners won't get out of bed in time to make that 8 a.m. breakfast on Capitol Hill. Well, Bill Maher, I know you're not listening to this. My audience is far, far, far less than yours, but I hope you get the message here from somebody, and that is that we are working our asses off to legalize marijuana, and we're kicking in a lot of our own money, a lot of money that we don't have compared to you to help get marijuana legalized. And yet, as one of the most high-profile people, pardon the pun, on television these days, who's a proponent for legalization of marijuana, where have you been? Where has your help been? Where is the Bill Maher for Prop 19 web ad? Where is the $5 or $10 or $20 or $30,000 check coming from Bill Maher? Haven't seen much of that lately. I am up every day at 7 a.m. I'm in front of this computer at 8 a.m., and I rarely leave this desk before 8 p.m. Pacific time, sometimes 10 o'clock. I'm working 12 to 14-hour days, dedicating my life to ending adult marijuana prohibition. And I'm representing the people out there who don't have the celebrity connections, who don't have the money to hire expensive lawyers to get out of a pot charge. I'm glad that you got yours, Bill Maher, but it's about time that you help the rest of us get ours. Get off your ass, write a check, get out and vocally support Prop 19. Ooh, I just called out a celebrity. I guess that's going to kill my chances of getting booked on Real Time anytime soon. Anyway, it had to be said. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with your Daily Toker Tunes.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support NORML Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would say to South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
NORML Show Live reminds you to never consent to a search. If you're holding and you consent, in most states you will be arrested immediately and you will go to jail. If you don't consent to a search, police may try to intimidate you by threatening to bring in drug-sniffing dogs or try to fool you by saying things will go easier if you consent. Yeah, easier for them, sure. Stand your ground, refuse the search, and ask the officer if you're free to go. If they still detain you and eventually find your contraband, you'll be no more busted than if you had allowed the search. But by refusing the search, your attorney has a chance to win your acquittal before a judge. If you consent to the search, your attorney's hands are tied. You can find a list of NORML Legal Committee attorneys specializing in marijuana cases by visiting the Find a Lawyer link at norml.org.
5 of the last 7 people to run for president and the last 3 winners have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. It's time for your Daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420 friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Today we bring you tunes for Groovin' Thursday. Our salute to all the dopest beats and killer rhymes that we find in the best of rap, hip-hop, soul, R&B, and funk. Brought to you by the John Doe Radio Show in Denver, Colorado. Accurate and informative marijuana reform news and entertainment. Available on the THC Media Network and JohnDoeRadio.com. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on NORML Show Live, send it to us at stash@norml.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
John Doe Radio.
John Doe here with your Groovin' Thursday tune on NORML Show Live. Travell Wiggins, a.k.a. Cornbread, has had a tough life. No money and bad neighborhoods throughout childhood left him wanting more, as it does probably most of us in those situations. His hardships increased at the age of 16 when he had to turn to the Covenant House homeless shelter, where he would spend the next 2 years bouncing in and out of. At the age of 19, he lost his mother and decided to try and start everything all over. He moved to Albany, Georgia, enrolled in Turner Job Corps, where he achieved his GED and went on to master culinary arts. He then moved back to Florida and started with music. Growing up, Travell's musical influence was R&B. Says he was never a connoisseur of rap music, though he realized soon rapping came easily. One of the best original artists I've had the pleasure to bring y'all on NORML Show Live, Cornbread. Song is called Struggle. Ganja John, we wish the best for you and your family. Hope you have a healthy, speedy recovery. Nothing but the best. Till we meet again, John Doe. See ya.
Yeah. Do something, you know what I'm saying, how I feel right about now, how this world going on. Marley on the track, the Martian out here. My brother. This for my people in the struggle, going through hard times. You know I feel your pain, that's the government acting blind. It's for my people in the struggle, going through hard times. You know I feel your pain, that's the government acting blind. It's for my people in the struggle, going through hard times. They messing up the world, man. Pain, that's the government. We need to work together. It's too late. Going through global warming. You know I feel your pain, that's the government acting blind. It's for my people in the struggle, going through hard times. You know I feel your pain, that's the government acting blind. Gas prices keep rising, and food they getting cheaper. Trying to climb up out that hole, but that is where they trying to keep you. I ain't no politician, I'm telling you something real. You gotta like what I say, cuz this is how I feel. I go to church at times, homie, try to ease my mind. They pass that collection plate around about 4-5 times. Man, the whole world is corrupt, that's why the youth is fucked up. Babies having babies, dog, this shit is messed up. See my first black president, Bush, did his ass wrong. 8 years schooling the economy and got his ass on. So they blame it on Obama, that we going through this drama. Been that war so damn long, but still no Osama. Listen, I'ma say what I say, whether you like it or not. They got a cure for every disease, don't want that money to stop. We got kids missing, and it ain't no jobs. Good brothers turn to life for crime. Man, this life is hard. I lost my mama at 19 and been right since. I don't even talk to my sister, my brother, life behind the fence. And baby mama tripping, she fucking with my mind. I wanna beat that bitch so bad, but can't afford to do the time. Listen, I'm doing this for all my folks, but you need to know we gotta work together, dog, before this world go. Hey, it's real shit, man. I'm telling you how it is, man. I'm sitting in the booth and I'm shedding a couple of tears right now because this shit is over, man. I don't think I'm gonna be able to see my kids grow. You know what I'm saying? It's rough out here right now. You dig? Fuck all this black and white shit. We need to work together, my brother, and make this shit happen. People over here fighting over religion. You know what I'm talking about? It's crazy out here. You dig what I'm talking about? Bush came in and he fucked up the world. You know what I'm saying? The United States, 8 years, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We got AIDS, cancer, all this shit that we got cures for, and people around here acting like they don't know, but they know. You know what I'm saying? These dollars want that money. You know what I'm talking about? Leukemia, all this cancer, this shit that's curable. Motherfuckers around here dying for. And these motherfuckers acting like they don't want to help. This shit is crazy, my nigga. We need to get together, unite, and make this shit the better place. You feel what I'm talking about? I'm Cornbread. Nice to meet you, homie. Real talk. Stand up, nigga. Let that bullshit go.
You want a copy of that song for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media, and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. It's 420 somewhere.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for NORML's Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at normal.org/calendar. Tonight, Thursday, October 7th, Philly NORML is having their meeting at the A Space, 4722 Baltimore Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 7:30 p.m. They always meet on the first and third Thursdays of the month. For more information, check out phillynormal.org. This Saturday, October 9th, the Northern Michigan Compassion Club is meeting at the Horizon Bookstore in Petoskey, Michigan. The club meets in Sheboygan on the first Tuesday of the month as well. See their calendar for more information. Oregon NORML has their cardholders meeting, a twice monthly meeting held for members of the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program to gain information about the program network, meet patients and growers, and perhaps even get a plant clone to start. For more information, check out ornorml.org. Coming up next week, all sorts of events, but we want to point out the Johnson County NORML Money Bomb taking place on Wednesday, October 13th. Johnson County NORML is the new NORML chapter in Kansas, Stillwell, Kansas, and you can donate money via PayPal to Kyle at joconormal.org. We really want to help this new chapter get established right there in the American heartland, so check them out, Johnson County NORML. Also, coming up next Saturday, October 16th, I am so happy to announce that I will be at the Guerrilla Union Smokeout at the National Orange Center Event Center in San Bernardino, California. This features Cypress Hill performing their album Cypress Hill and a whole bunch of other acts, and I was so happy to find out that today, I just found out today, Living Color will be one of the acts performing there. And for me, this is a big, big event because I'm a huge Living Color fan. Incubus will be there as well and other great acts. It's the Guerrilla Union Smokeout. I'll be participating in a Proposition 19 informational panel. We'll see if I can get anyone to boo me. And we'll be bringing all of that to you live right here on Normal Show Live all day Saturday from San Bernardino on October 16th for the Guerrilla Union and Cypress Hill Smokeout. So check that out. For more information on all of the events on our calendar, including the website addresses, emails, and names of contacts and telephone numbers and so forth, check out NORML's Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at normal.org/calendar.
In terms of legalization of drugs, I think that the battle, the war on drugs has been a utter failure. And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure. Criminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure. Criminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure.
Normal Show Live, where we don't change our position on decriminalization in an election year.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527. Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit MarijuanaIsSafer.com. Weed.
That's Hooey Valley, hooey-ha.
Weed.
Where any office boy or young mechanic.
Now it's time for a report from the epicenter of American cannabis culture with our Southern California correspondent. You know her from ComedyNation.com and her appearance as a finalist on Season 1 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's our friend, cannabis comedian and marijuana activist, the lovely and talented Terry Joyce. Welcome back, everyone. 33 after the hour, and we always love going down to Southern California and visiting with Terry. How are you, Terry? Oh, my goodness, we got to turn up that thing or else nobody can hear you. Are you there, Terry?
I'm here. Let me see if I can get my volume to go to come up.
Oh, good. No, we got you. You're sounding just fine right now.
Oh, great. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm doing really wonderful. But I did hear in the news that my cast member, from Last Comic Standing, Ralphie May, got busted in Guam for
Yes.
having pot on him. Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, we covered that story. Apparently, he had pot in Guam, just a personal amount on his person, but he forgot that he had it. He totally spaced it, and he had it in his pocket. And while it was in his pocket, he decided he was going to go up and say hi to the drug sniffing dogs. So he's
right.
he's sitting there with the drug sniffing dogs, and that's just hilarious to me.
It is hilarious. I read it this morning and I just laughed out loud. I mean, just the fact that the dog sat down in front of him and he thought, oh, it really likes me, and another one sat down, but that was the signal that he was holding.
Right. They're like, gee, why is that dog so nice? So, going back to that first season, what year was that of Last Comic Standing? What year was it?
That was in 2003, and I gotta say, when we do the show, you sign a contract saying that you're not going to use any drug use, including marijuana. And I'm going to give it away a little bit because there was so much past it. But there was one day that Ralphie May looked at me and whispered, and he goes, "Do you have your mic on?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, he tries to write out like I'm high, and I said, well, he goes, I smoked some, and I go, where? And he found a spot someplace where the cameras couldn't see him and actually got away with it.
Oh, that's great. So now the show you were on, this was the season that Dat Fan won and Ralphie May came in second. You were on the show as well as Rob Cantrell, who we all know is a very good friend of 420. So how did that work out? I mean, were you guys, not smoking weed at all the whole time you were there? Really?
Yeah, we were not smoking any marijuana. And Rob Cantrell, just, I could tell that it was bothering him. He was, really funny to him. And the whole thing was that, and everybody, and I don't want to say everybody, but, a friend of mine gave me this joke that was I used for a little while. And I say, I was on a reality show, but it wasn't really reality about comedians, because if it was reality, they would all be like smoking weed and trying to have sex with me. That's like really what comics are like.
Yeah, no kidding. How funny. All right. Well, that's the Ralphie May story, and I haven't gotten any updates yet onto, I think they let him go. I think Cannabis Carry told us that he was let go or something like that.
They did let him go. And the one statement that it says that anybody that actually was wanting to sell drugs would never walk up to the sniffing dogs and pet them. So they knew that it was he had no ill intention. It was just he paid a fine, it says.
Wow.
And then he was like, yeah.
Got really lucky on that one. That's good news to hear. So let's go on to your guest today, because you've brought us a guest with some very interesting stuff to talk about. So go right ahead. Let's do the intro.
Yes, my guest today, he actually is the creator and producer and host of the Jack Hare Awards, which is happening this October 23rd. And, I wanted to bring him on to talk a little bit about it. He's also a longtime freedom fighter. I got a tongue twister there. And a cannabis expert. And I like to, introduce Med Mike.
Hey, Med Mike, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, tell us what you're up to and these awards and where they're going to be and everything we need to know.
Okay. Happy to do that. By the way, I found that Ralphie May story really interesting and funny myself. And, we were in conversation with him about coming to Buddha Fest, which is this is where we're going to feature the Jack Hare Awards this year. Usually the Jack Hare Awards is its own event. Buddha Fest being the most peaceful event honoring hemp this year, especially with all the election issues on Prop 19 and whatnot. We thought that we would bring these two events together and make them the biggest event of the year, particularly in honor of Jack.
Yeah, it's just such a shame. I was there at the Portland Hemp Stock. In fact, it was our second live show that we were on the air when the ambulances were coming there backstage, and it's so sad that we lost him. But he left such a legacy, such a huge legacy of activists. And I always say that, there's a little bit of Jack Hare in every activist I speak to here on NORML Show Live. Tell us your thoughts about the man Jack Hare and the legacy he's left.
Well, Jack was obviously a very important component to understanding the conspiracy against hemp, but also against about the uses and the future of hemp saving our planet. And him and Captain Ed went out, and Captain Ed Adair, they went out and they brought the information to us. And now there are many, many people, as you indicated, that have bits of this information and are passionate about it, and we can now teach people how we can save the planet through hemp, because our eco-ignorance, if you will, has taken us to new levels of destroying our planet, and there are ways to fix it. And just about everything that is destructive to it and to the human race itself can be somehow redirected through hemp education.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've got a story up on our blog at stash.normal.org. It came off the physorg.com website, but it's a new study out at the University of Connecticut where they're looking at industrial hemp as a viable biofuel, as a, biodiesel. And they found that the hemp biodiesel's efficiency of conversion was 97%. They're able to convert 97% of the hemp oil to biodiesel, and that it passed all the laboratory tests showing that it could even be used at lower temperatures than any other biodiesel currently on the market. And that's just one tiny little sliver of what hemp will do for us. And that's the legacy Jack leaves for us, is that knowledge about the hemp plant.
Yes, and the passion that he reached so many people in a way that touched them and brought their passion forward about it. And so this is the time to reach out and reach the world. And so in 2003, we began to talk about how we could honor Jack and help continue this, knowing that Jack wasn't going to be around forever. So we came up with the concept of the Jack Hare Awards show, and that's jackhareawards.com. And we began to honor the eco heroes and eco warriors and freedom fighters that were bringing the truth about hemp to the world. And this year, being, the election, being all things considered, is the greatest year, the biggest year. This event is going to be absolutely fabulous, and we're working with Budapest and THC Expose. There's going to be the list of performers, and there's also a budafest.com. It's going to be at LA Center Studios on the 23rd of October from 12 o'clock in the lunch at noon till 2 a.m. And the award show itself is going to be from 4 p.m. to about 7 p.m. And it's going to be a fabulous VIP area. There's going to be all kinds of commemorative stuff, performers, fire walkers, an Iron Chef competition with an actual enhanced foods. They're going to be doing enhanced foods, and a celebrity list that would just blow everyone's mind. I mean, it's just going to be a fabulous event.
Well, what are some of the awards that you give out at the Jack Hare Awards?
We have a whole list of awards for achievement, for hemp awareness, for paper, fuel, fiber, medicine, music, radio, cultural diffusion, pop culture, legalization, doctors, attorneys. We honor every eco hero imaginable that's reaching the people today.
Excellent. And you said the celebrity list would blow people's minds. Give us 2 or 3 that'll blow our minds.
Well, we've got. Let's see. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go to my list because it's a little overwhelming.
Okay.
We have. We're talking to. We've got Doc Martin. We've got Faith Evans. We've got Snoop Dogg. We've got Alan Thicke. We've got Chris Robb, Toby Hicks.
Wow.
Los Marijuanos, Cypress Hill, Cheech and Chong.
That's a great lineup. You got a whole bunch of people.
It goes on and on. It's a little overwhelming. I don't have it in my hand.
Oh, that's fine.
It's a very
no, that's fine. You give us a good idea. That's a big lineup coming up here. And again, give us the dates and the website. People can get more information.
Okay, it's budafest.com or jackhareawards.com. LA Center Studios. That's 5th Street. It's 1201 5th Street in Los Angeles, October the 23rd, and from 12 o'clock noon till 2 a.m. And the performances and all the different speakers, there's going to be about 10 stages and art booths and every kind of awareness and peaceful, homeopathic things, natural things. Is going to be a really fabulous event.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And let me bring Terry Joyce back on the line for this because, Terry, we got some of our folks in the chat room saying somebody ought to go to this thing and get pro-Prop 19 quotes from all the celebrities. Can we enlist you, Terry?
I would really love to. The only situation that I have right now is, unfortunately, I am booked to be on a tour. Up in the Northwest, Dave Tribble's doing a comedy atomic festival. And I'm actually booked to headline that and will not be returning home until the 25th. I'm working on possibly getting to go home early. So I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to be calling the booker tomorrow to see if I might be able to make some sort of adjustment. But I made this commitment before I found out of the date, and I feel really bad.
Well, Med Mike, is there any way you can help us out with this? Perhaps you can get some recordings from some of these guys.
It will be filmed for a couple of television shows, a couple of movies, a documentary. THC Tonight will be there on the red carpet, red carpet runway. There's going to be several people that are going to be there, talking to the celebs. So I believe we're going to get both sides of the issue.
Okay.
And there are going to be platforms for both sides of the issue.
Okay. Well, we look forward to that. TheBuddhaFest.com is the website. And Med Mike, thank you so much for coming on our show and telling everybody all about it. We appreciate your work.
Hey, thank you, Russ. I really appreciate you having me.
All right. And Terry, thank you also as well for joining us here on our Southern California scene. Terry joins us every first and third, and if there is one, fifth Thursday of the month. Next week, second and fourth Thursdays, we have speakers from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Stick around, everyone. It's Normal Show Live. We're coming back with a little bit of Radical Rant.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after a word from these 420 friendly sponsors. Wait a minute. This is Internet Radio. There are no dials here. If you like what you hear and would like to donate to the cause, send your check or money order to Normal Show Live, 1600 K Street Northwest, Suite 501, Washington, D.C., 20006. Your donation is a tax-deductible gift to the Normal Foundation and will be used to help support this online media. Thank you.
You want answers? I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Radical Rant.
Welcome back, Tokers and Tokettes. It is 47 after the hour, and we've got to talk. For a while now, I've been bringing up the point of the Box Canyon metaphor. This is something I did a presentation on at the NORML National Conference, and you can find my presentation online in our Stickum video archive, stickum.com/Normal Show Live. Look for the Box Canyon presentation. And the whole gist of the Box Canyon presentation is, if we keep fighting for medical marijuana, medical is exactly what we're going to get. Now, think about your typical medicines that you have to get a prescription for. The doctor has to sign everything. You have to go to a pharmacy. There's limited amounts of what you can get. It's got a jacked up price. Well, that's what we're facing. That's what we're looking at. What folks need to understand is that the first 13, 14 states now that have legalized the medicinal use of marijuana, 9 of them did through the initiative process. The other 5 have done through the legislative process. And each time a state has used its legislature to get medical marijuana passed, we've seen further and further restrictions of patients' rights. And no state exemplifies this any better than the no garden state, New Jersey. Now, New Jersey already had the most restrictive medical marijuana law on the books when it was passed, right? Like, it doesn't allow patients to grow their own medicine. You pretty much have to be on your deathbed before you can get medical marijuana and so forth. But now, the Republican governor, Chris Christie, who hates medical marijuana and never wanted to see it passed, is now going forth with his administration promulgating rules, 97 pages of rules and regulations for the medical marijuana program that are so restrictive, that are so onerous, that are such high hoops to jump through that hardly anyone in the state of New Jersey is going to be able to qualify for medical marijuana. And one thing we've learned in politics is that these sort of things don't get more and more expansive. They get more and more restrictive. We've seen it in the 5 states so far that have passed these medical marijuana laws, and we have more states like Pennsylvania and New York and Ohio and Illinois that are looking at medical marijuana bills, and they're getting more and more restrictive too. They oftentimes start with a big plate of nice rights and responsibilities that are listed, but then they get chipped away by law enforcement, chipped away by the people in politics who don't like medical marijuana or think it's some sort of ruse. So I'm reporting this from NBC New York. Senator Scutari, the senator who sponsored the medical marijuana legislation in the first place, Senator Scutari is taking particular exception to how rules deal with the 6 combination manufacturing and distribution alternative treatment centers, aka dispensaries, that the law calls for. 2 in North New Jersey, 2 in Central Jersey, 2 in South Jersey. Instead, Scutari said he was told 2 of the centers will be just for growing the marijuana, while the sale will be at the other 4. So not the 6 dispensaries that, when people say, oh, we're going to vote for 6 alternative treatment centers, there'll be 6 places for patients to get their medicine, 2 in the North, 2 in the Central, 2 in the South. No, it's not going to be 6 dispensaries. There's going to be 4 dispensaries, and there's going to be 2 grow sites is what there's going to be. Scutari is also worried about proposed restrictions on potency and ingestibility, noting, quote, "We wrote the most stringent conservative law in the country. I hope these rules are not so stringent now that they strangle it. That's my fear right now," end quote. Well, Senator Scutari, they are strangling the New Jersey medical marijuana program before it even has a chance to serve its first patients. Let me give you a highlight, because I read all 97 pages of this law last night and had to take some Rolaids afterwards. First of all, your qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in New Jersey: ALS, that's Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis, terminal cancer, muscular dystrophy, or inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's disease, any terminal illness where you have less than 12 months to live, or positive status for AIDS, HIV, or cancer. The terminal illness one is most interesting in that this law got signed months ago, and it's meant for people with less than 12 months to live, but because of this stall tactics by Governor Christie, it won't go into effect until July 2011. Yeah, so much for those people that had less than 12 months to live. I guess they don't get to get their medical marijuana. You also qualify for seizure disorders like epilepsy, intractable skeletal muscular spasticity, or glaucoma, but only if other treatments don't work. If you've got glaucoma, you've got to try every other pharmaceutical possible treatment. If you've got epilepsy, if you've got spasticity, you've got to try every other treatment first. All those pharmaceuticals with their nasty side effects, you got to try all those first. And then, if it doesn't work, then you can have medical marijuana. The registration fee for the patients, $200. Now, it is a 2-year registration, to be sure. But coming up with $200 right there, cash on the barrel, is going to be very tough for a lot of patients. They do have a program where if you can prove indigency, you can get it for $20. But we know how those programs work. The poorest of the poor get the $20. But those who are the working class poor that have just enough money to not be poor, but too little money to afford $200, they're the ones that have to pay the $200. Here's a really, really bad part of this bill, or of these regulations. The doctor who certifies you for medical marijuana must have seen you for a year and documented 4 visits for your debilitating condition, and has to see you for follow-up visits, right? Because, poor folks, we can afford to go to the doctor 4 times a year, right? Exactly. That's what you're thinking. And by the way, not just any doctor can recommend. The doctors who recommend actually have to register with the state for the right to be able to recommend after they see you 4 times within a year. You can only have a maximum of 2 ounces in any 30-day period. When you go to the alternative treatment center, you can only buy 2 ounces, and they're going to keep track electronically to find out, whether you're getting more. Oh, and you can only shop at the one alternative treatment center that you specify. You can't go to the other ones if you're on the road, if you happen to be vacationing in South Jersey and you live in North Jersey. Sorry, you got to make sure you packed enough medicine from your dispensary in North Jersey. You cannot share or give away your medical marijuana even to another patient. Yeah. Let's see. Caregivers can only take care of one patient and cannot have any possession convictions in their past, as determined by mandatory criminal background checks and fingerprinting. So if you want to take care of your wife who's wasting away from cancer, you, sir, need to go and get your fingerprints and criminal background check taken care of to make sure that you weren't caught holding the joint back in college 20 years ago. And if you were, sorry, you can't take care of her. We already talked about only 4 dispensaries in the state. When you get your medical marijuana card, it'll have your name on it, your photo on it, and your home address on it. Let's hope you don't lose your wallet and it gets picked up by some home invader. If you want to be one of these 6 alternative treatment centers, 2 that are growers, 4 that are dispensaries, if you want to get involved in that, that'll cost you $20,000 in an application fee, and $2,000 of that is non-refundable. That's right. If they reject your application, they're keeping the $2,000. No eating or drinking at a dispensary. I don't know why. Can I get you a glass of water? Poor AIDS sufferer who's got a massive case of dry mouth and could really... Nope, sorry. Can't get you nothing. No eating or drinking at the dispensary. The employees who work at the dispensary will have to be drug tested and won't be able to work at the dispensary if they test positive for cannabis. That makes a whole lot of sense. Let's get people working at a dispensary who don't know a thing about marijuana. That's a bright idea. Oh, here's one I'm sure you'll love. Marijuana available at the dispensary shall have a THC level not to exceed 10%. That's right. None of the medical marijuana in New Jersey is going to be allowed to be above 10% THC. Now, for comparison's sake, in the Netherlands, where they have a medical marijuana program, if it's not above 10% THC, they don't consider it medical. Oh, here's one the growers I'm sure will appreciate. A dispensary, the 2 that can be the grow sites for the entire state of New Jersey, a dispensary shall cultivate no more than 3 strains of medical marijuana. Because really, my gosh, the entire state of New Jersey, it's 9, 10, 12 million people, however many there are, I'm sure 3 strains will be just fine. They only need really 3, right? Oh my God. Dispensaries will have to keep a logbook of their patients' self-reported pain every 3 months. That's right. Your dispensary, not your doctor, is going to be required to ask you to point on the pain scale, 1 to 10, how bad is your owie, and keep a log of that for 3 months, or keep a log of that every 3 months, so that we can determine whether or not any people are abusing it, just to get high. Here's a lovely one that anybody who runs a business and has to keep track of inventory will appreciate. Dispensaries can only keep on hand 2 ounces per patient that's registered for that dispensary and must destroy any excess. Right? So if I'm a dispensary and I got 50 patients signed up for me, I can have 100 ounces on site. Any more than that has to be destroyed each day after day. Dispensaries, now, if these treatment centers are going to be have the right to deliver marijuana as well, they can deliver it to patients who can't get out of bed, who are homebound. But if they're going to deliver, they must keep $1 million worth of insurance on any delivery vehicles. I'm sure that costs a pretty penny. A dispensary delivery cannot be made on the same day that the patient orders the medicine. Yeah, you are in intractable pain, bedridden, can't get out. You've got a recommendation for medical marijuana. You make the call. You got to sleep on it. You got to wait another 24 hours before someone can bring you your medicine. Dispensaries must tell patients not to engage in extraneous conversations with the delivery personnel. What? You can't chat up the guy who's bringing your weed? Come on now. The dispensaries, if they advertise, must only advertise with black text on a white background. No illuminated signs, no t-shirts, no promotional items like pens or anything like that. Okay. And the final bit here that they've got in these regulations for the state of New Jersey, that should go into effect, I think, today or tomorrow. Patients cannot get their medical marijuana delivered if they live within a drug-free school zone, which is 1,000 feet away from a school, or as most of us call it, anywhere in a city. Do you folks realize that New Jersey is the most densely populated United state? That it has something like 900 people per square mile? That it's almost all urban? It's almost all within 1,000 feet of a school? So if you happen to have intractable skeletal pain and can't get out of bed, just make sure you don't live within 1,000 feet of a school in the state of New Jersey. This is the direction medical marijuana is headed, people. If we keep fighting for medical, this is what we're going to get. Because other states are going to see this and they're going to copy it. And they're going to realize that they can shut down medical marijuana before it even has a chance to get started by instituting rules so onerous that nobody can really apply to the program. Nobody can really qualify. this is what we're going to get. There are only 26 states in the United States that have the initiative system. 9 of them have already used their initiative system to get medical marijuana. 2 more are using their initiative system to get medical marijuana this election cycle. But after that, those other 24 states back east and down south, it's all up to the legislatures. And if this is allowed to stand in New Jersey, this is what those legislatures are going to start copying. Wake up, people. It's time to abandon the Box Canyon strategy and work for full legalization for all people. Vote yes on Prop 19. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. The Cannabis Carrying everyone here at the NORML Foundation. We're out of here. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Take it out one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.